I only pitied you and extended my hand of benevolence. But just in case you were tired, madam, pack your things and leave my house, because I, Afolabi, the son of Chief Akande, will never. Long time ago, lived Shegun, a single father of a 7-year-old girl named Busayo. He was abandoned by his wife because of poverty. She got tired of hearing the future is bright without seeing a sign. Shegun decided to turn the lemon life gave to him into lemonade. He went into business, and within 2 years, great doors opened for him. He decided to remarry because friends were advising him to. You can't continue this way. You need another woman. That woman had gone for good. The cancer became too much and he yielded to it. He got married again, and his new wife only treated Busayo well for just 2 weeks and then became another woman entirely. She maltreated Busayo so well, and this pushed her to get married after her secondary school. She met Afolabi, a man who claimed to love her. Busayo fell in love with him because nobody had ever loved her and cared for her the way he did. Afolabi showered her with lots of gifts in such a way that her spirit, soul, and body yearned to be with him forever. He did only introduction, and Busayo packed her bags and moved in with him. She was happy. To her, she had gained freedom at last. She could easily scoop food and eat to her satisfaction, sleep and wake up at will. Little did she know that life is deeper than the oceans and has its own sweet and bitter parts. She only saw a good Afolabi during their dating days and 1 month with him. Afolabi changed totally, and she wondered what went wrong, because she began to find the Afolabi that she knows and couldn't find him. He began to drink and cheat. Busayo didn't see anything bad with him cheating because she felt most men do. Now, that's not a good ideology. Cheating is not of God. So as a man or as a woman listening to me, please do not cheat on your spouse. And if you're already doing so, kindly repent, because there is nothing good that comes out of cheating. Now back to our story. Busayo became angry with him when he started rubbing it on her face by bringing in different women into their home, and we authoritatively chased her out of the room and lay on their matrimonial bed with strange women. Busayo could no longer take it, and she confronted him. Afolabi, you can't keep doing this, for heaven's sake. I thought you loved me. What changed? You saw how vulnerable I was and you deceived me. If you knew I was not good enough for you, then why did you marry me? Is this not from frying pan to fire? And Afolabi said to her, Come on, shut up your mouth, you rejected fool. If your father's house was comfortable, you wouldn't have agreed to move in with me after ordinary introduction when your mates are in the university or somewhere learning a trade, securing their future. I only pitied you and extended my hand of benevolence. But just in case you are tired, gingerly pack your bags and use the same door you enter this house with as your exit. It is that simple, because I, Afolabi, the son of Chief Akande, will keep bringing women into my house. Busayo looked up and down and said, Mother, you do this one, no. If you had left with me, I know my life would have been better. No child deserves to be abandoned by his or her mother. Where do I begin from now that I'm pregnant? Please, my God, change my husband back to the Afolabi that made me leave my father's house in a hurry. The Afolabi that called me the sugar in his tea and the cockroach in his cupboard. She stayed back because of the pregnancy. And it was as if Afolabi's wickedness was renewed every morning because he became worse. He didn't help out in any way. Busayo would do all the house chores, and the pregnancy came with weakness promise, spitting, and absolute discomfort. Yet, her so-called husband didn't care. He said, "You are not the first pregnant woman, neither will you be the last. Go out and see your mates and women far older than you pregnant, looking smart, and some with heels. But you are here lazying about, carrying spit like a snake. You better adjust yourself or I will send you back to your father's house, so that stepmother of yours will help me to handle you." That day, Busayo cried. She said, "I would have stayed back in my father's house than this whole emotional trauma that I've been going through here in this house. Or am I even cursed? From the day zero of my life till now, it has been a journey of sorrow. Well, let me just hold on and see if he will change." One day, during her final trimester, she was so hungry and there was nothing in the house, not even Gary, so she can at least sip as she has always done. She met with her husband and said to him, "I am losing strength and I need to eat." Afolabi responded by saying, "Is there anything else that you know how to do apart from eating? You obviously don't know money is hard to get because you have never worked all your life. I will disappoint you today, my darling wife. There is no money in my account, in any of my pockets, or in the hands of people. So there is no food for you today. After all, there is no food for a lazy man." And Busayo said to him, "Please don't do this, if not for anything else, but for the sake of this child. Remember, I am eating for two. And besides, I have not bought any baby thing. You promised to give me the money at 9 months. From now on, anything can happen. Please don't tell me there's no money anywhere." And Afolabi said to her, "Our mothers are known with always saving situations. They don't keep begging. When situations like these arise, they will think of a possible solution to save the situation. And before you know it, they will do what our fathers could not do then. You better look for money to buy your baby things, because shishi you won't see." He left the house without telling his wife where he was headed to. Busayo at that moment became blank. Still very hungry, but didn't know what to do at that time. Is it to get food, or is it to think about the baby things? And to think that her husband had reminded her again that she is motherless. This was more painful than the feeling of not having what to eat. You see, bad marriage? It is like cancer. It will drain you and make you feel like you're not important. Suddenly, Busayo remembered her father. She said, "My father is doing so well in business. I can't keep sitting here and die when I can actually tap money from his wallet." She didn't waste any further time. She immediately went to her father's shop, and her father surprisingly welcomed her with an apology. He said, "I know I've failed you and your mother, because each time I see your mother in the dream, she kept on weeping and asking me why. I am sorry, my daughter. I didn't know that remarrying would be of great disadvantage to you. Find a place in your heart to forgive me." Busayo said to her father in hunger, "I have heard you, sir," targeting his wallet to carry out the mission that brought her there. Her father started telling her all that he had experienced to be sure he had been forgiven. But you know, a hungry man is an angry man. So all her father's gists were simply annoying and noise to her. Very soon, Her father paid attention to something else. She collected his wallet and found money. But she knew tapping one note would be evident, and that's not something she wants. Because deep down, she knew she would return someday, and she doesn't want to make a mistake in this tapping mission, which she calls her only hope. So she checked the locker and saw scattered money. Hey, this was the right place to pick from, because apparently her father doesn't know how much is in there. She picked something reasonable and used bigger currency to scatter the top in such a way that no one will suspect that some mathematics, that is subtraction, had occurred. She hid the money under her clothes, managed to stay extra 5 minutes before telling her father that she wanted to leave. Her father surprised her. He said, "Hold on," brought out his wallet and gave her all the money in there. Busayo said, "Thank you, sir," for more than 10 times. And I am not even exaggerating. And the father felt so good, thinking his daughter was really grateful to him, not knowing that the "thank you, sir" was actually directed to God, that she was sensible not to have removed the money from the wallet, because she would have been caught red-handed on her first tapping mission. As she left, she entered the restaurant because she craved moi moi, jollof rice, and chilled coke. If you are pregnant or had ever been pregnant, you should understand this better. Her eyes were focused on where she would get the food. She didn't notice anybody sitting in the restaurant. When she had finally been served her food, with nothing missing, she joyfully went to sit down. She scooped the first spoon and ate it with so much excitement because the rice was really giving, well spiced, and the pepper was just how she loves it. Within minutes, she finished her food and pushed it down with the very chilled coke. And when she was done, she belched and said, You know that joy that comes with eating exactly what you crave for as a pregnant woman? She lifted up her eyes and saw Afolabi sitting pretty well on a table with a beautiful lady, enjoying themselves with salad, jollof rice, chicken and juice. Her head rang, baga. Like, is this the same man that said he doesn't have money in his pocket, bank account, or in people's hand? She became 100% charged in annoyance, and she moved towards them, greeted and asked, "But you said you don't have money anywhere. You left me in my condition and you came here to enjoy yourself with another woman. How wicked." And Afolabi said, So what about it? My money, my rules. I decide who to spend it on. Do you have any problem with that? Her head rang again, this time. Bagam, bagam. She carried the whole food and juice. She wanted to pour the food away and break the plates by clearing the table with her hands. But she said, that would be so foolish of me. No room for wastage at all. So she went to the people serving the food, asked for nylon. Women supporting women. They gave her the nylon without asking any question. And one of them said to her, "Madam, he has not paid though, because he said he will order grilled chicken for the woman as a takeaway. So let's give you this cash. We will add it to his bills." Oh my God! This was just everything. So Busayo had more than enough to buy baby things. She knew the way Afolabi kept quiet that he was planning on how to deal with her. So she quickly went to buy baby things and then hid the remaining money. Afolabi apologized to the lady he was with, but she felt embarrassed because people abused her and called her names like Waka Waka, Homebreaker, and the likes. A waiter was standing already by their side, so they don't escape without paying. Afolabi paid with his card and then debited in full together with the cash given to Busayo. He asked the reason behind the outrageous amount he was debited, and he was told his wife's food was paid for as well. Afolabi began to wonder if she ate for 15 people, but he didn't say anything further because all eyes were on him, and the only thing he had in mind was how to walk out of the restaurant without missing his steps or falling. Busayo got home and was exhausted because of the stress she went through. Thank God for the wisdom to pack the food and not to waste it. So she ate it and cracked the bone of the chicken because she ate it last during their courting days. She stepped it down again with juice and she slept off on the couch. 20 minutes later, Afolabi came in like a lion ready to devour. He woke her up and asked, "What was that thing you did in the restaurant? Who gave you money in the first place to come there? Who dashed monkey banana? What gave you the impetus to come to my table and pack my food? So you have now grown wings, right? And you have joined the league of stubborn women who measure shoulders with their husbands." Busayo was not in the mood because she was feeling a little pain below her abdomen, and she said to him, "I am not sure this is the right time. Please take me to the hospital." Before she finished saying this, Afolabi gave her a resounding slap twice, and she saw stars. Before she could recover from that, it was as if she was in a wrestling ring because Afolabi gave her the beating of her life. She shouted that neighbors had to come into her rescue. She noticed she could not move again as she felt a little bloodstain. She crawled to the door and begged them to take her to the hospital. Her state was pitiable, so all hands were on deck just to make sure she doesn't lose her life. She couldn't push, so she was operated on. Surprisingly, she carried triplets, but one couldn't survive. She cried, and Afolabi was nowhere to be found. He intentionally put off his phone, and when Busayo recuperated, she cleared the hospital bills with the money she hid. She was happy she had the money to pay. If not, she would have stayed in the hospital till only God knows when. She got home, and her boy husband didn't send her in any way. He only touched his children and said, "Oh, so I now have a boy and a girl. That's nice. You are welcome home, my children. Please be like your father." That's all. He left the house and didn't return until after 1 week. It was one of the neighbors that helped Busayo, and she advised her to run as fast as her legs can carry her because she was in hell and not marriage. Busayo agreed, but said she will wait for at least 6 months. She received gifts both in cash and in kind. Her father could not come because he lost his second wife in an accident, and this was very traumatizing to him. Losing 2 wives, and then the second one has no child for him at all. Busayo healed very fast, and everything was left for her to handle. Sometimes she get so overwhelmed. She remembered her mother. This would have been a very good season in their lives. Afolabi on his part still continued with the beating, maltreatment and cheating, and he wasn't in any way ready to stop. After 1 month, her father came visiting, and he was happy to be a grandfather. He carried his grandchildren, Taiwo and Kehinde. He blessed them and gave them a huge amount of money. Busayo summoned the courage and told her father that she was done with the marriage. And Segun asked, why? Busayo said nothing, but she was no longer in love with her husband. Her father said to her, "Don't live here, my daughter, if that's all your reason. People out there will call you wayward and a woman who doesn't keep her home. Nobody will respect you again. So please calm down. The love will come back." Marriage is piloted on the wings of patience. Stay back and give birth to all your children here. There is dignity in having all your children with just one man. Shebo. And Busayo said, yes, sir, I have heard you. The children grew to 3 years, and Afolabi was still in the business of being a McTaxin to his wife. One day, he beat her blue-black and she passed. It was her children's cry that brought her back. That was the day she took a vehement decision to live for her children. She went back to her father, who has now gone back into business, told him she was fed up. This time, she told him all that she had been going through in the hands of Afolabi. Her father said, give me time to talk to your husband. If it doesn't change afterwards, then you will return home. Shegu spoke to Afolabi, and he stopped beating his wife because he was threatened. But that was the last day he gave her money for food or anything. He said, if you can be this fast to report me to your father, use the same energy to work and cater for your children. Busayo went back into her tapping business to provide all that the children need. Just one day, she decided to stop and talk to her father about empowering her so she can make money and not pulling down his business by tapping his money. This discussion never held because her father just complained of small fever, and that was it. He died. That night, Afolabi brought a woman into their house and chased Busayo and her children outside. And that day, it rained heavily. Out of her annoyance, Busayo laid a curse on Afolabi. She said, for locking me and my children outside, you and your children will die mysteriously. I will leave this your house with my children. But any woman you bring in here after me, if you like, marry 50 of them. They will never give birth. As you have treated me and my children this way, you will never be called a father. When Afolabi was done, he beat her for opening her mouth to curse him. Immediately he left the house. Busayo packed all her things together with her children's things down to her father's house. The children with their tiny voices kept on saying, but mommy, why do daddy hate us this much? Are you sure he's our daddy? These questions were only heartbreaking, and Busayo couldn't say a word. She only heard her children, and they all wept. She continued with her father's business and was careful to only buy things that they needed per time, as the business was the only hope to escape hunger. Afolabi didn't bother looking for them. He kept changing women like clothes, and within 2 years, he married 3 women. None got pregnant, and none was able to tolerate his cheating habits. One day, he only scratched his leg, and it turned into a small wound. From there, it began to expand and started smelling badly. No medication worked, and yet Afolabi kept pumping money into his treatment. His full leg eventually got bad, and blood couldn't flow again. He started soliciting for funds to carry out his surgery. Before he could get half of the money, he died. And when the news got to Busayo, she wished him a rest in pieces. After 6 months, Taiwo and Kehinde were playing the compound, and both of them kicked a stone, and within 2 weeks, they both died. Busayo almost ran mad. Her precious jewels, the apples of her eyes, and her joy givers, all dead? But how come? She asked. She was really damaged, and it took a couple of years before she recovered. She focused on the business, the only thing left for her, and being that she was still very young and beautiful, she got married again to Femi. This time, she experienced peace on every side and was treated like a queen in her kingdom. Hey, African Tales by Kama Tribe. Thank you for your unwavering support. I sincerely do not take it for granted. Please like this video so that YouTube algorithm can push it to more people. Before I go today, Psalm 18 verse 21, death and life are in the power of the tongue, and they that love it shall eat the fruit thereof. Someone may be wondering why Busayo's children died. Remember, she cursed her children when she angrily cursed Afolabi. She forgot that Afolabi's children were also her children. James 1 and verse 19 to 20. Everyone should be quick to listen, slow to speak, and down to become angry, because human anger does not produce the righteousness that God desires. So please, dear viewers, whenever you are angry, please take a chill pill and take back your words. I know it is not that easy, but try not to speak when you're angry. If the word keeps coming out, you can take in water and leave it in your mouth without swallowing it until you are calm. The reason is simple, so you don't end up saying words that will affect you now in the present or in the future, or put you into trouble. My today's special hug is for everyone who watched to this minute. I love you all and thank you for being a Karma's lover. Until I bring another story your way, it is a goodbye from here. God bless you.